sense of leadership and ownership over your own life. You're feeling very stuck, and it's not necessarily the reality. You have the leadership qualities to push forward in what you want. You know intuitively very strongly what you want. You kind of need to take leadership and ownership of your life. The second card was deceit. Now, this one talks about potentially deceit with other people, but this was about self-deceit. This was about your own limiting belief system. These blocks in relation to this fear of receiving, that's all in your mind, because the therapist was talking about it's about rephrasing your subconscious to believe you're worthy of more. You feel like you're stuck. That is a mental concept, not a physical one. It's the lies we tell ourselves that keep us stuck when you actually have the ability to have ownership and leadership of your direction. Creativity was another interesting one. To me, this was interpretive of you have the ability to find creative solutions to your problems right now. You have the concept with this leadership to find creative ways to feel good enough, worthy enough. There doesn't need to be a sense of like stagnation, negativity, feeling stuck. You have that creativity and that leadership skills to push forward. And then the final card was survival, which was interesting because to me this told me a very clear story, particularly the deceit and the survival card. You have lived in periods of survival, hypervigilance, that's fine. It's created this deceitful self-concept that you will be stuck there. But these really enlightening cards of creativity and leadership mean you have everything within you to move past it. It's harnessing this, and it's harnessing that spiritual connection and the messages that come through to find creative ways to move forward from this. This isn't your end point. This is kind of your new starting point. And then the other cards kind of reinforce this, but these were beautiful, these cards. I kind of felt very emotional when I pulled these. This deck, I love this deck. And I think the messages are really, really special. So listen deeply. Again, this is kind of connecting to everything else. It's like, listen to your intuition. So I kind of talk to the therapist every time I know something's not been right with me. I felt it internally and ignored it, and it kind of linked to earlier this week about my body. Your body will give you physical signs when it's had enough, when something doesn't feel right, when you're running on adrenaline and anxiety. Listen deeply within to that inner compass, that intuitive knowing of whether something is right or wrong for you, and also it will give you inner guidance. The next card was learning experience, and it was really interesting because I was talking about this situation in therapy and how I finally know that I've overcome it because I don't have any animosity about the situation. I don't have any hatred or issues with the actual person. I realised that this situationship was about me. It was about me recognising on an unconscious level when I thought I had chemistry with somebody. It was me literally meeting childhood wounds and saying, oh, this hot, cold, this inconsistency, this person kind of pushing and pulling away affection, that's really normal for me, that's safe. And so my system lit up like a Christmas tree and was like, oh, this feels exciting and attractive because it's all I've ever known. And then this was a deep process for me of learning that that's not what I actually want. I gravitated towards it at a time when I recognised it, but I have evolved past this to realise that wasn't what I wanted. This was a learning curve for me to realise that that is my past and I'm moving to what I actually want. And it helps you learn radical self-growth, because now I almost feel embarrassed about how open I was, how loving and caring, and how much I pumped into this situation, how I really wanted to heal this person and this connection. And in reality, that person showed me that they were the same consistently all along. It was me that was kind of inflating meaning into something that wasn't there, which is a past wound of trying to manage other people's emotions, trying to keep everybody loved and cared for at the expense of what I wanted. So it was a really radical learning experience, which was reflected in this card. Then I got composure, which is really interesting. Because to me, obviously composure if you've had kind of a fallout with somebody. This card to me meant going inwards. It meant finding your inner composure, your equilibrium, your sense of calm to find the next steps, to come out of this survival mode and listen intuitively to yourself from that calm inner space, not from anxiety, burnout, things like that. Transformation. So this shows that like a cycle is ending energetically, and you are transforming, like how you see things is moving in the right direction. I also love all the gold on this card. I just think it's gorgeous. But it's transformative when you see a different outlook, when you change your perception. Like for me, when I'm seeing like spiritually, to surrender in a different way, that I have more control of how to find the solution to things, then I think that's the kind of transformative mindset. And then this last card, like I just thought was gorgeous. I've never pulled this card before. So this is Sacred Plan. So I just think, oh, that is absolutely stunning. But it talks to me, this card brought this whole thing of the last day all together under that surrendering. It's that concept that you have the inner power to change things, but surrendering, not trying to control the outcomes, not trying to control how much you learn from this, and not controlling external people, places, things, like letting things organically happen, trusting your internal compass, that listening deeply and letting it guide things, but in a space of surrender and openness and letting something happen, rather than trying to pull and push the puzzle pieces. Because I realised I'm very, very guilty of pushing puzzle pieces. I will want to know where I stand. I'll want to push something forward. I'll want to figure something out because my brain is like, okay, this is this and that needs to be that. But surrendering is very uncomfortable. But for people like me and for a lot of us, if your message keeps coming back to that one word, like for me, it keeps coming back to surrender. It's learning the art of surrendering, of trust. And I said to the therapist in therapy, it's learning to surrender to the universe. I don't have to surrender to a person. It's surrendering to this belief that I already have a team who spiritually want to guide me in the right place. It's putting trust in them, and it's learning to trust, which goes back to what is blocking my trust, this fear of not being good enough. But I can start to build that trust with the spiritual team to open myself, to kind of transform how I view things, to be able to receive the things that offer me. So I don't know if this is a bit la-la for some people, but this, like, it just felt like all of these things were like connecting, and I wanted to share it because if you're having a spiritual journey and you're trying to connect with your guides, sometimes you get messages like this where it's like a repetition in different areas of your life of the same theme or the same thing. It's not like the heavens have opened and sent me some big long monologue with exact steps, but the themes just kept popping up, and that is because it's significant to you and it will be unique to you. That's why I shared my experience, because you might receive something different. It might be about your life journey, specifically where you're at now. For example, what your block might be overthinking, or it might be second guessing, or it might be not trusting your own intuition, or it might be that you're blocked emotionally from receiving anything because you're in self-protection. There might be really specific things for you. But I wanted to use this as a vessel to kind of talk about the reality of spiritual development, in hopes that it will help you guys.